Okay, I think we're on. We are going to try to preview the Frozen Tundra 2021 season here. Completely impromptu. No major planning at all. Just been looking at the rosters and thought people might enjoy a quick look around the league. I think, looking at the last few days, what pops up as most interesting to me, and I haven't done a historical analysis, it just feels like there are fewer highly rated defenses than ever. Um, there are no excellent ratings across the entire league. No one has an excellent run. Nobody has an excellent pass. Um, and there are just a handful of good defenses. So it looks like the offenses are going to have more of a run this year on the league than usual. Usually, we're not a very high scoring league to begin with. That might change. That may change a bit this year. Let's start by going through the qualifications and sort of begin to separate these things out a bit. So we see Chicago looks like average, and there's our first good of Cincinnati. So we'll come back to that. Denver's looking at poor. Houston, good against the run, average against the pass, and that's a good time to bring this up too. Is that I think most of you know this sort of stuff, but just to give you just a little more perspective from my point of view, anyway. You know, I was looking at trying to upgrade to an excellent D. I was pretty close, just needed to go from a 5 nose tackle to a 6 nose tackle to do it. But it's one of the flaws I think of the strat game um, in the individual fumble ratings is that the defense isn't taken into account. Unless somebody knows something I don't know, feel free to let me know. It's based completely on the individual fumble rating. So what does that mean? Well, that means is it worthwhile chasing an excellent run defense or isn't it? Well, it really depends on the cost. Of course, you're going to get some yards back if you go from good to excellent or average to good. You'll give up less yards per carry, but you're not getting a turnover edge. However, for pass D, you get significantly upgraded interceptions, and therefore the classification is much more important than your run D classification. So, when considering trading for that 6 nose tackle, upgrading off of Vita Vea's 5 for the New York Yanks this year, I took that into account seriously. Still made good offers, but wasn't going to chase it nearly as hard as I chased, and as many of you chase better ratings last year. I mean, last year I worked real hard to get an excellent pass D, and it did work out. So there you see a little bit of that with Houston. Good against the run, average against the pass. Indy, very poor against the run, poor against the pass. Vegas going average poor. Average for the Chargers. Rams, average good. Michigan, average. And 3-4. Poor for Joe in Minnesota. Average for New England. The Hitmen are looking at average poor. New Orleans, poor, very poor. My New York Yanks, good. Oakland Raiders, poor average. There's another good with Oklahoma. And then Dave and Duke, good for Philly. Phoenix, average poor for Pittsburgh. Good for Portland. Another one there. Either good poor or average poor. So I guess we'll go good poor for the 4-3 defense of San Francisco. And then average for San Antonio. Average good for Seattle. Average for SCS. So, when you're looking at the league, I mean, the first thing we tend to do, and it's not always the right thing to do, is to separate, okay, who's at the top of the defensive ratings and who doesn't have those those defensive ratings, and putting the top tier into what you would assume would be the top tier for the entire league. So in this case, the good guys. I don't know that that's true this year at all. It's just it's a very lazy way of doing it, but that is a way. And it just last night I was looking at it that way. There's 5 teams that rank out as good. Cincy, as you mentioned, is 1. So let's break down their offenses. Now we know they're all good. So we'll just call defense even for now, even though it's not. Obviously, things like pass rush and exactly where your ratings are and how the distributed matter. But just with broad strokes, let's just assume the defense is even. What do you have on the offensive side? Well, for Cincy, it's Goff and Dobbins. So recently acquired Goff and then Dobbins in the backfield. And there's a little bit more than Dobbins, and this is true for all these teams. They have more than just one ball carrier, but this is who assumed is going to be the lead guy. So, so from a QB perspective, among these top five, I believe Goff would rank in the fifth slot. I look at pass ratings a little bit different and sort of stack them up in different ways and really use this column here, HG, as the one that drives me. So if you're looking for these five quarterbacks, worth noting, you got one right there, Aaron Rodgers, that's in the top five. So for these good defenses, there's only one, Portland, that has a top-tier QB to go along with it. Moving down here, looking for one of those five. Who's going to come in next? There's Derek Carr. Yanks just acquired Derek Carr in a trade at the deadline. Minshew, 3 slots behind that. Burrow. And now we're looking for Goff. So yes, Goff does rank in at number 5 among the group. Big advantage for Portland. Aaron Rodgers is better than the guy behind him, Derek Carr, in every category. Better running, better passing, better INT, better fumbles. So all those things are in Aaron Rodgers' favor. So advantage there for Portland. Now, looking back at the other half of the battery, the running game, there's Dobbins, Henderson, very good cards here. Nothing wrong with these 3 sort of B-level guys, Mostert, Henderson, Dobbins, all effective cards, generally limited in carries, but all effective cards for sure, and can definitely move the chains. And like I said before, all these teams have second, third running backs, some even fourth running backs to help complement them, and the coach is going to have to piece it together for the running game. But all these guys can lead the way, and they can definitely generate run calls from the defense. Now, pretty clear that Philly and Portland separate themselves with really high-level guys. So Henry and Chubb right at the top of the leaderboard for the entire league. Chubb's limited at 190 carries, but Portland has Alvin Kamara right behind him. So there you go. 1 and 2 on the board, according to Strat, is Henry and Chubb. There they are. Kamara not far behind for Portland. So Portland clearly has the best battery among battery mean defined as QB halfback pairing. With Rodgers, Chubb / Kamara, Portland is well ahead, I think, of all of these top 5 squads. Now, offensive line matters too, and that's where Portland falls off a bit. Portland sits at 50. So, that's 4 out of 5. And as far as pass blocking goes, the worst of the group. So they will be susceptible to some pass rush. Haven't breaking it down, not breaking it down here, where it's located, what the matchups look like, that sort of thing. But, they have a decent blocking back, so they'll be able to withstand some safety blitz. Shouldn't say decent, I think a 7 pass block there. So that's helpful. And everybody has a certain level of pass block in the backfield here to help with that. But relatively speaking, Portland's kryptonite is going to be the pass rush. Does it prove to be kryptonite or just a little speed bump? It truly depends on the matchup. When he's facing a team like mine, doesn't have much pass rush, Portland should have its way offensively, relatively speaking, and have a clear advantage over the Yanks. Best offensive line goes to Cincy. So yeah, you got problems perhaps with Goff being the 5th best quarterback, but it's offset at least somewhat by the good offensive line of the Bengals. Second is the Yanks. Third, Philly. So Philly seems to be pretty well positioned, right in the middle of the pack on the offensive line, but the best back and a capable quarterback in Minshew. Minshew's card may not, and certainly his name Do not pop for anybody, but he's capable. Let's take a look at the card. Must Run is right about average for this set, getting 4 yards on 9, 7 on 7. And then jumping into the pass card itself, capable flat passer, gets the double teamed short pass on 7, always nice to have. 3-4 long gain right, definitely below where you want to be. But not a bad INT out there, 2 through 7. It's not good, but it's not bad. So you would assume Duke doesn't have fear throwing long if he's looking to catch somebody with nobody back there. And that's one of the key, I think, the key indicators for a QB, sort of the acid test. Like, are you afraid to throw certain balls? Because if you are, then your offense becomes very limited. But you can see here, Minshew, you could throw on all 3 levels without fear. On the first 2 levels, you have a good chance of a completion. Some of the intricacies of the card, you've got a +6 there on 7. That helps on 3rd downs. You have a 6 or a 7 or even 8 yards there. The 4 is less helpful on 6. Gets the completion on 10. That is certainly helpful. There's a lot of blanks out there on 10. Guessed right. He's got it. You wish for a couple more yards in these short passes. So this 10 means that, your 3rd 12, that sort of situation, probably not going to want to throw short, all things being equal. You'll have versus other quarterbacks out there who can throw short 3rd and 12 and feel more confident. You might be facing a 4th and 2. You might be looking at the need to punt. Going back to that must run. Pretty good. I like the +2 on 10. A lot of zeros out there on 10. These sorts of things matter at the goal line, in particular. So serviceable. Sort of feels like a couple last year's QB, Case Keenum for the Yanks, not even close to the top. Minshew's got a better card than he does from last year. So Philly right, all these teams right in the game. I think the clear edge though goes to Portland. That's where the edge lies. Now, pulling away from this group of 5, let's take a look at, sort of go team by team here. Take a look at some others. So, start with Chicago. So Chicago's defensive ratings, average. So very much in the ball game from a defensive standpoint. Cam Newton at quarterback along with Fitzpatrick. So Fitzpatrick likely to get the start. Dalvin Cook behind. Obviously extremely capable back there. So very good battery for Chicago of Fitz and Cook. Fitz doesn't have the long passes he used to have on this card. But still, still quite good. So let's take a look here. Fitzpatrick. So yeah, you can see the INTs on 10. You might be afraid to throw that long ball. You've got a 2 through 10, 12 on 10. So that is sort of an acid test there. You may not see the long ball too much. Or as much as you might otherwise see it from other quarterbacks. I think it's a better way to word it. Must run's kind of important for him. And he's just tad above average. So that's good. Capable back. Dalvin Cook. Just quickly jump in on Dalvin. Awesome card. Key +1 across the board on 7. Love it. Short gains across the board on 7. Don't see that often these days. Do you want more yards out of guessed right 6 and 8? Sure you do, but come on. Short gain on 7. That makes up for everything. Guessed wrong, he'll do damage. All over the map. End run, long gain on 9. Hello. So, speaking of fear, and fear of calling things, there's going to be a lot of defensive coaches that are fearful of facing an end run wrong against Dalvin Cook. They'll call run, and that'll open things up for Fitz and these receivers. So who do we have receiving? Well, Robbie Anderson, really nice card, 6'5". Justin Jefferson, 5'6". Odell, nice third. Chicago has some offense working here. Look at the line and the tight ends. Not much in terms of pass catching. Nobody can catch deep, which is just as well. Charles gets some run block. Center, decent enough. Guard position, a bit of a weakness there. Tackle position, Donovan Smith leads the way, and Mike Remmer's behind him. But the possibility, getting him McGlinchey at 5'6". So some choices there, and you might see some situational subs. Scanning for pass rush. We know the rating, so I'm not going to take time to go into the defensive ratings. Just scanning for pass rush here. Anything up front? Yeah, there's some stuff up front. So Jaron Reed, that's helpful. So that coming from Dennis Gardick would be in situational opportunities for pass rush. We've already talked about Cincy. Let's take a quick look at the receivers, though. Devontae Adams, 6s. He's wild here, maxed out. Edelman, great card. Last card, but it's a great card. CeeDee Lamb, no problem there. So 3 good receivers, plus a really nice 4th, too, and Jameson Crowder. Loaded up just fine. And then Zach Ertz at tight end. Fant, 5'5", nice. It's going to be interesting to see what formation. We saw a lot of 2 tight end last year from Justin in the playoffs. Guessing we see a similar formation this time around. Denver. Jalen Hurts at quarterback with Marvin Bernard and Gaskin in the backfield. So let's take a look at Jalen Hurts. Decent runner, as we know. Difficult card to work with here. Going to generate a lot of run calls, for sure, just to even avoid what is a decent must run at best. So some problems in there for sure. Then take a look at Gaskin. Who will be facing some run calls. So there's some challenges here on offense for Denver. Receiver position, McLaurin, you can make your pay. Deontay Johnson, make your pay too. On the offensive line and tight end, next pass catcher is Mo Alley Cox. Center position held down. Guard position 7'6" there for Zach Martin. Eric Flowers, just enough to get it done. Balaga and Morgan Moses at tackle. Moving on to Houston. Houston's defensive ratings are good against the run, average against the pass. So very much in playoff contention will be Houston because of what is likely an above average set of defensive ratings and the battery of Patrick Mahomes and Miles Sanders. Probably the best battery out there. Right up toward the top. Let's take a look at Miles Sanders' card. Back to Philadelphia. All of us know about Mahomes' card. Excellent everywhere. A little bit weaker flat pass, but you're happy to take that given how good his short and long is. But let's take a look here at Miles Sanders, who's going to be running guess wrong with some frequency. You have that end run Long gain on 4. Guessed wrong. Big deal. For sure. Really helpful. 6 yards, 5 yards. No movie chains here. Is it the best card in the set? No. Is it excellent? Yeah, it's an excellent card, especially when paired with Patrick Mahomes. Interestingly, can't go short or long. So we will not have fun guessing here. Run or pass as defenders of the Houston defense, the Houston offense. Throwing the ball, Mike Williamson get downfield. Catching the ball, Zach Pascal looks to be second best. So not a strength of the unit at wide receiver. Tight end, though, is with Travis Kelce. Along the front, Alex Mack in center. Castro and A.J. Cann, recently acquired. Plug a hole guard. Once a New York Yank. Tackle, the week there. With some problems along the front that Gary has addressed to a certain extent with A.J. Cann, but still some holes here and there. Just take a look at this average pass D. You got a 5 and a 4, 5-4. Probably some weaknesses along the linebackers. Yeah, looks like it. We'll get to that rating. But Houston will be right in it, everybody. Houston's not to be overlooked at all. Excellent chance of the playoffs. And once you get there, good luck stopping this offense. And as I like to say, have all the defensive ratings that you want. The great thing about defense is that it is so much in the coach's hand. Key the right guy, double team the right guy. Easier said than done, you might think, but some of us, among all the strat football players, do that better than others and are able to get in the head of our opponent. So Gary does not have a significant defensive gap versus his competition. There's some decent play calling on D. With that offense, he's right in the thick of this. Indy. Very poor. Sledding there. Goes into the season with both Brady and Herbert. Herbert likely to get the start there, I would assume. But let's just check a quick guide here. Herbert is ranked in Brady, so perhaps Brady. See where that's happening. Sorry, and occupied it. Okay. Whoops. All right. So, Brady versus Herbert. All right. So, obviously, Brady's losing a lot running. Herbert gets a little bit. Brady definitely the better passer. Herbert, though, better INTs. So, it all depends on how you value. And this has certain weightings in here. When it's all said and done, Herbert leads in turnovers, both in INTs. Oh, sorry, not in fumbles, though. So Herbert's behind in fumbles. So when you exclude fumbles from the entire category, you actually see that the entire analysis that Herbert's at 13.38 and Brady's at 8.38. So go either way. Go either way here. Jody figures out who to put under center. Behind them will be Damian Harris and Brian Hill. Nice card, I believe, for Damian Harris. Not one that I know very well. Let's take a quick look at it. Oh, yeah. Yep. Mm, 137 carries. Okay. So good battery here. Good run pass options. Receiving. No, let's see. 1-5 shows up here for Trey Higgins. A bit limited on the receiving side. Bunch of good guys though, but not top tier ratings among them. Logan Thomas can catch the flat and short really well, and Gronk can actually go deep when you need him to. Good blocking there, good blocking options. As far as center goes, good center. Guard play, good. Decent. Tackle play, same. Vegas. Rudy comes in, average poor. Quarterback. Tua will be holding it down. Behind him will be Josh Jacobs. Then Michelle also has a good card. Tua, I believe, is a small baller. Take a look. Yeah. Good and flat. Not much else. Can he hit those must runs? What does he do? Actually, a little bit below average. So small baller. Receiver. Sanders, nice card. Leads the way. Big B at tight end. That's that. Center position, it'll be interesting to see what he runs with here. Might see some platooning going on. Guard. Some issues there. Tuck away one of them at right guard. The right strategy. And then on the tackle, good tackles. Good tackles going down the sides. The Chargers. Ryan Tannehill. Paired up with Jonathan Taylor. Chargers defensive ratings, average. Let's take a look at Jonathan Taylor and let's take a look at Ryan Tannehill. Two cards that I don't look at very often for whatever reason. Tannehill. Very effective card. I get frustrated with that 5 and 10 guess right from time to time, no doubt about it. That's going to kill a drive or two. But you can go deep with among the best of them. Nice short pass. How's he running it? Matters. Not very well, but not poor. He'll get some first downs on those most runs. Nice card from Ryan Tannehill, bottom line. Then he's paired up again with Jonathan Taylor. Well, very good card. We're going to run off tackle, it looks like. Where you want to focus in on. Get some key yardage, which is really cool to see. And get big chunks on the outside. Not much going on in the middle, though, unless you're running off tackle. Ronald Jones is right with him, though. So, Ronald Jones is a nice card, too. Malcolm Brown there as well. So, a number of qualifying backs. A lot of different options here for the Chargers. Running the ball with Tannehill. Very capable card. Carrying tons of receivers. Brandon Cooks leads the way. Jerry Jeudy right behind him, draft acquisition. And then Sterling Shepard might be the third. Tight end. 56 catches for Eric Ebron. Does it mostly flat and short. Along the line. How are we looking? At guard. Okay. Tackles look really nice. Center is also a bit meh. So a couple holes along the offensive line. Definitely a capable team to be able to move the ball down the field. And with average, right in the ball game defensively. The Rams, average good against the pass. Matt Ryan at quarterback. Sort of a vintage Matt Ryan card. Is this the last one we're going to get from Matt Ryan that looks like this? With that long gain on 9. Just right. Good short, good flat. Throws at all three levels, relatively low interceptions, just a good passer. Strong passer. Can't complain. Pair that up. James Robinson. Let's look at that card in a second. Pretty sure Mixon and Gore's cards are unspectacular, and so is Bell's. Patterson, who'll be valuable next year with the way he's being used, still at 64 attempts. So let's take a look at Robinson and Patterson. Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Robinson acquired in the draft, of course. Let's look at the linebacker off tackle. Yeah, we'll get some run calls for sure. And then Chicago for Patterson. Less interesting. So between Robinson is 240 carries and Ryan. Good offenses there. Mike Evans going deep always helps. And then look at that Calvin Ridley card. So top two receivers are quite good, and Deshaun Jackson going deep as always. He's still doing it, as you saw on Thursday night. Mark Andrews can come out of the backfield. That's a help. But there's not really another tight end to jump in, or is there? Oh, there is. Jimmy Graham, 5.52. Okay. So you can see some blocking back here with Andrews in the backfield. Jimmy Graham taking the tight end spot and getting an extra pass catcher on the field without taking any sacrifices on the white guy running. Center issue. Guard, a bit of an issue too. Tackle, a bit of an issue. So not be living off offensive line ratings that much. So with a good average D, Matt Ryan and James Robinson at the battery, and some really good receivers. Nathan will be right in the hunt for the playoffs as well. Michigan. Average. Stafford, very strong passing card. Long gain right on 8. Boom. So, might be a little weak in the flats, but this is an excellent card. Stafford shows up with a really nice card for Mick here. Zeke in the backfield. Zeke's card turned out to be better than I thought he was in terms of the eye test last year. He was getting these short gains where he just seemed like a 3 yards in a cloud of dust sort of guy. He's getting some credit here for some short gains. So playing that off tackle up against Stafford's card, that is the dynamic that Michigan needs to lean on. That's a good dynamic to lean on. Look up. We want to see more of that long pass than that. Same thing with Schuster. So good receivers, but just not particularly rated well deep, especially given the long pass ability of this quarterback, and not a tight end that can go deep either. So that's a bit of an offset against the exciting long pass card of Stafford, is that these receivers just won't help you out as others might be able to. So they're not bad receivers, but just not playing to Stafford's strength. Ragnow maxed out at center. Guard position. Pretty good. 4.5s. Tackles. Okay, one of the better offensive lines out there that we've seen. So Mick has a pretty good offense to work with here on this average D. Joe Sardos, poor for D. And we'll have Dak Prescott. I thought this card should be better. I was a little bit surprised by Dak's card. I was expecting a bonanza off of this card. Instead, Dak rates down. Where's Dak Prescott here? Okay, well, not so bad at all, really. Okay, that seems right. So, my bad. Ranked well. And paired up with Antonio Gibson / Chris Carson. Carson, I think, has lost most of his fumble troubles. Let's take a look at Seattle. Chris Carson. Oops. There he is, Chris Carson. And we're looking at Zach's card over again. I'm sorry, Zeke's card over again. That's a lot like Zeke's card. Then you have Antonio Gibson. Good complimentary back. Surprised that he can't catch the ball better than that. But two good backs to go along with a top 5 QB. Receiving, Allen Robinson leads the way. And everybody else is a bit so-so. Higgins, Mooney. Mooney will have a really nice card next year, but he already has it. I mean, it's a good card. So there's some receiver depth there for sure. Leading pass catcher among tight ends is Ferkser, who doesn't have a long pass catch. 6'7" guard in Pouncey. Sorry, 6'7" center in Pouncey. Another 6'7" at guard, but nobody really strong to pair up with him. 4'7" tackle, Villanueva is, you might see some situational substitutions there along with tackles. So Prescott, paired with Carson, is the offense. Potent offense at that. On to the Patriots. The pass, average. So right in the ball game. And who's going to be throwing the ball? Let's see. I don't know any of these guys all that well. If I had to guess, it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater out of Carolina. Paired with whom? Eckler has a nice card. Singletary, not as good as I recall. So these are both sort of sub-level, the quarterback and the halfback are both sort of sub-prime, but capable for sure. A.J. Brown, really nice receiving. Curtis Samuel coming in at number 2. Kittle, difference maker at tight end. So some nice receiving to bring up Teddy a little bit. Let's take a look at where we rated Teddy here. Okay. So Teddy came in at 23rd. Behind Fitzpatrick and ahead of Daniel Jones. So definitely a respectable card for New England. Again, with an average defense, you are definitely in the conversation of holding up the end on the defensive side. So piecing things together with Teddy and Eckler is going to be key. And these very good receivers. Center 4-4. Good pass blocking at guard. And situationally, you can get Teller in for run block. Tackle strong. So good offensive line to go with it. That certainly does not hurt for Brandon. The Hitman. Damon is average at run, poor at pass. Kyler Murray, last year's number 1 pick. Leading the way at quarterback and halfback. DeAndre Swift just acquired. Leading carrier with 114. With Wilkins, Steve Johnson, Trey Pollard. So not a strength here at halfback. If I had to guess, Swift is going to have the best card. And as I recall, it's not a standout, right? Okay, well, you got a nice end run to work with here. You can make sure you can get some best calls. Certainly work well with that. Catches 54 here off tackle. 2. We should go deep. You see Mets coming for him down the line. Receivers. Handful of good ones here. Marky Brown, Mike Gallup, Tim Patrick lead the way. Michael Thomas falls off on the long pass so much that it becomes a little less useful. Hawkinson at tight end. You would wish for more out of the long pass out of Hawkinson. But can't be upset about this 5-5. Eric McCoy at center is a 5-5. Card. Hole here, but nothing major. You can sort of piece it together. And good tackle play for Damon and the Hitman. Butch and his New Orleans Voodoo. That poor, very poor, with Kirk Cousins, who I think had played better than his card. Cousins. Where's Cousins in here? Am I missing him? Or is he just up? Yeah, he's down here. Down below Case-Time Hill. So, yeah, Cousins, I don't think was carded fairly. And that's gonna hurt Butch. With David Montgomery and Melvin Gordon, two good backs behind him to attempt to offset any shortcomings of Cousins. At the receiver position, we have some strengths here. Tyreek Hill leads the way. Look at that. Maxed out. Great receiver. Keenan Allen, awesome. Flat and short, not much long. I have Chargers as a stock team, so I know what Allen's pluses and minuses are. He can frustrate a defense with what he can do flat. Hunter Henry, good flat and short. Dalton Schultz and Smith bring a little bit of long passing to the party. Good at the center. Guard has a bit of a hole. Tackle looks really nice for the Voodoo. Oakland, Sean squad. Poor end average. Lamar Jackson at quarterback. Not as good as last year. Came down to earth a bit, but still very dangerous. Guess wrong or right. Adrian Peterson and Kareem Hunt in the backfield. Let's take a look at Hunt. Assume his fumble's better this year, and really nice sixes across the board. Boy, those Cleveland running cards are great. So nice capability with QB halfback pairing. On receiving, Jarvis Landry, 5'6", He is perhaps the best of the group. There, yeah. And you have, if he is, Robert Woods right in line behind him. Tight end, Darren Waller. So a real weapon there. So good offense at Oakland. Center, got a strength, but being held down. Guard, pretty good there. Tackles, looking okay there. So an okay line, no major holes. Dave Will and his Cardinals. Average. Who's going to throw this ball? Andy Dalton or Mike Lennon? I don't know. I don't know we do these guys very well. Let's take a quick look here. Dalton. Receptions on 10 across the board. Oh, good flat pass. Lennon. More INTs to be concerned about. Guess it's going to be Dalton at quarterback. Going with Edward Hilaire and Jamal Williams. So some troublesome battery things to worry about for Dave. U6 certainly helps. And how he blocks. Claypool. See Beasley there. And Guyton goes deep nicely. Odert. Offensive line. Center looking good enough. Guard. A little bit of a hole there, but nothing major. And some decent tackle play. Pittsburgh. John's squad is average poor. 4-3. Led by Deshaun Watson. Best QB in the set. And you think? Running, not many carries here. So we're going to have trouble with carries with Fournette and his 97, but nobody else behind him. So good passing card, but not enough of a compliment running. Stephon Diggs looks fantastic. Christian Kirk looking really good too. Fulgham, nice third. That tight end. Dawson Knox. Good center. Holes at guard, it looks like. These minor holes. And some decent play out of tackle position. San Antonio. Dale has Josh Allen at quarterback. Going with him. Davis Murray has a nice card. San Antonio's designations are average. And I'm running up against the clock here, so I'm sorry to cut everybody short. Just a quick look at Seattle. Russell Wilson, really nice card this year. Dennis will be working him with Mike Davis and Jeff Wilson, so piecing together a running game. Julio Jones looks great. Godwin looks good, so those two are back to do damage again. 16-0 last year was his team. Offensive line is, so there's no holes. Not a great offensive line, but no holes at all. Jim and his SCS squad. Gonna have one of those two guys throwing, not sure who. Kenyon Drake in the backfield. Gus Edwards has a really beautiful card. So Edwards is a huge help. One star receiver. Center position looks good. Guard, tackle, one side. Oh, good tackle, 5-4. So 4-5. So piecing together a good line there for Jim. And that is it. Wish I had more time. Have to run. Thanks for watching, everybody. And good luck this year.